So one thing that this two-part special of Naruto Shippuden reminded me is that the leaders of the Hyuga clan were major assholes. Let's go. So believe it or not, this is actually the first appearance in the main series of Naruto Shippuden of Hannabi Hyuga, Hinata's little sister, because she actually appeared once, I believe, in the Rock Lee anime, in the Rock Lee manga, whatever, but she never actually was in the main series since the part 1, since the beginning, the part 1 stuff where we would see her, kicking Hinata's ass or whatever. So for starters, I guess that's, kind of important. And to be honest with you, this isn't like, the most major or extravagant filler, but it definitely felt nice to see, a little bit of, hey, what she's been up to. And to be honest with you, I think this was the extent of what we really needed to see as far as she goes, because for the most part, it's just her training day in and day out and staying inside the Hyuga residence. We really didn't need to see much of Hannabi Hyuga, except really, like, we could have, I guess, seen her, like, small glimpses here or there from time to time, but for the most part, this was the extent of what we really needed to see. So as far as, like, getting a little bit of Hannabi Hyuga, I'm fine getting it with this two-part special, because aside from that, yeah, she's not the most interesting character. But one of the things this episode definitely was showcasing, kind of like what last week's episode was showcasing with Gaara, is Naruto's influence, change people, getting to, I guess, see a success story like that. Just seeing his story, I guess, firsthand, especially with a lot of these characters, it really changes people. Like, to see that people were throwing him out and saying, fuck you, get out of here, what are you doing, you stupid little kid, looking at him with disgust, to see him go from that to the village hero, people worshiping him, people loving him. Ultimately, that had an impact on a lot of different people, especially Hannabi. Now, I was interested, to be honest with you, the way they did her character development. For starters, when she was a little girl, she looked up to her sister, thought her sister was awesome, but seeing everybody kind of call her a failure and this whole BS destiny bullshit ultimately was what kind of changed her, and her character you get to see grow from, like, she worshipped her sister, then ultimately kind of had it out for her a little bit with, like, she's weak, she needs to be outcasted, but then Naruto's influence changed her. Yeah, kind of feels a little bit like, oh, Naruto changes everyone, but if you think about it, when you see a success story like that and you see this kid that everyone hated and he changed everything around, it kind of makes you think, yeah, I don't really have to settle for what I'm living through right now. If I try hard, maybe I can change what I ultimately am to become. So we get a decent amount of that stuff, and to be honest with you, these two-part special, I would honestly say, if you want some enjoyment, I mean, at the end of the day, for me personally, being a Hinata fan, you got a lot of Hinata, Hanabi seeing Hinata through, like, her perspective of, like, a little sister to a bigger sister. So it was fun. It was enjoyable. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world. It was, in a way, giving us recap of the story from her perspective and seeing what Hinata was going through from when early on, when she was kind of abandoned. And in all honesty, the Hyuga was assholes. Like, if you think about it, it was like, no, Neji, what the fuck do you think you're doing? He fucking was hurting the fuck out of him. It kind of reminded me of when Vegeta was going through that mind control shit with Babidi, and he was like fucking with his mind. It felt very similar to that, except this was a little kid, and it was like, yeah, okay, you gotta punish him for trying to, hurt her, but the way they were doing it, it was just like, they were just nasty people, in all honesty. The way they did Hinata, like, oh, you're not good enough, your sister that's 5 years younger can fuck you up. It was like, the Hyuga, in a way, they, if anything, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Uchiha weren't innocent either, but the Hyuga definitely deserved a major punishment for how they were structured, because some of the things they did was not right. The way they did the main, like, in my personal opinion, looking back at the series and everything, and then this episode kind of reminded me of that, they were just assholes. Like, they treated the second branch as, like, filth, and like, y'all slaves, y'all better understand where y'all at, and even their own kind. I mean, like, look what they did to Hinata, and ultimately, while they thought they were punishing her by sending her out, go be a genin, get the fuck out of here, I don't give a shit about you. What they did was, if anything, made her a lot better, a lot stronger. She ultimately went through a lot of different obstacles, and yeah, she probably would have had an easier life had she continued on what she was, her path that she was set. But they did her a favor, if anything. And in all honesty, I would have loved to see an episode or two of the Hyuga just getting slapped up and reprimanded for being assholes. And it was also nice to see a little bit of Neji and his change as well. Like, you got to see a lot of people's change from, again, Hanabi's perspective. From the beginning with Neji, when he was just training Hinata, eventually getting fed up and becoming a straight asshole, to kind of accepting her and realizing, destiny can change. And again, of course, that was due to Naruto. We get to see character development from her perspective. And it kind of gave a little answer to a small question as well. Well, what were the Hyuga doing when the village was attacked by Pain? They were not there at the moment, because I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Hyuga would have tried to attack Pain. They probably would have got their asses kicked, because let's be real here, Pain is a fucking monster, but ultimately they would have at least tried. So yeah, maybe like a 6.5 for these 2 episodes. They were fine, nothing to brag about, but I personally enjoy them just to see more Hinata and kind of, I guess, a little introduction introduction to who Hannabi Hyuga is for the last Naruto the movie, because she's supposed to play like a decent sized part in that movie. I'm personally way more excited for next week, because if you see from the preview, Madara Uchiha, we're going back to canon next week, and Madara Uchiha is about to fucking boss, and I can't wait for next week. So yeah, this episode, these 2 episodes, fine stuff, enjoyable, kind of, touching, heartwarming or whatever. Next week, get your guns ready, because it's gonna be a fucking massacre, people. But let me know what you thought of this 2-part special with Hannabi Hyuga. Did you get a little, heartwarming feeling seeing this little sister looking up to Hinata? What do you think about seeing everybody's development again? It wasn't the most exciting or whatever, but I don't know, I got some enjoyment out of it, and I felt it finally gave some light as to what the fuck this little girl's been doing this entire time. And seeing her and Shippuden in general, a lot of people, there's people that they haven't watched the original Naruto, they only started with Shippuden, so there's people that didn't even know that Hinata had a sister, and there's people that forgot about that, there's people that they like, wait, who's that? Well, like, they thought that that was a filler character for the movie. So yeah, I think this was in order, this episode, to lead up to the last Naruto the movie. So yeah, enjoyable stuff, but that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm Hannabi World, and as always, people, have an awesome day.